Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again to the Crew First Culture podcast. My name is Jeremy, and I want to thank you for joining me today. Today's Monday, and Mondays are for checking that mindset, for adjusting our perspective, maybe realigning some priorities, and pretty much everywhere in between. Just kind of doing some introspection, figuring out some areas we can get better at, and hopefully creating a better world one person at a time. So that being said, before I get started, I want to thank Woods Forcible Entry Door Kits for their sponsoring the show and for helping spread that message. So thank you. Getting started. So this is almost a piggyback off of the conversation last week on Monday. Monday last week was basically talking about when you're faced with some decisions that basically you're choosing between either doing the right thing and breaking some rules or maybe not making the right choice just because that's that's what the rules are. And if you are, I know I didn't explain that very well, but if you are interested in that and haven't heard it, basically it's the concept of you need to do the right thing no matter what, even if that means breaking a few rules to get it done. And so if you hadn't listened to that and interested in it, go ahead and check that out. That's from last week, uh, 81, I believe. I'm not sure, but anyway, so today, like I said, it's going to be kind of connected, but not really. And just kind of the premise on it is, at what age did being able to make decisions start sucking? And of course, I'm going to have to add some context here to kind of get where I'm going. But the the idea behind it is, when you're young and you start getting some independence, you start being able to make your own decisions and start kind of getting out on your own. It's fun to be able to do that. It's fun to be independent. It's fun to be able to decide if I'm going to, just hang out at the house, or if I'm going to go drive myself to the high school basketball game tonight and cheer along my friends. Oh, that's a cool thing. It's it's just fun to have a little bit of responsibility and the ability to make your own decisions. Something I have really, really learned lately is that when you become an adult and, things start happening that aren't fun and responsibilities start getting really heavy, sometimes sometimes you have decisions that just suck all the way around. All the options are bad. And it's almost like you're taking a national registry test and you just have to pick the least bad option or the most harmless option. And that's a bad place to be. It's a sucky place to be. And it seems like, just speaking personally, there has been a lot of that for me here lately. There has been a lot of decision making that has had to been made both at work and especially at home. I would lean way more heavily at home with, my wife and I having to be faced with some options that just there's no winning. There, at literally every option that's there comes with a lot of risk. It comes with a lot of gamble. It comes with a lot of negatives. And so that's kind of my thinking behind it. I know I said it in a goofy way, but it's it's a conversation. You know, those decisions were fun when we were kids and when you didn't have a lot of responsibility and you're just starting to gain some independence, and it's fun to make decisions. But when you get older and when things start getting real, and when there are, especially when you become a parent and you have your kids' mental health at stake and your kids' physical health and safety at stake, and just being able to provide for them, and there's so many things that it gets very heavy very quickly. And so that's just kind of my mindset behind the conversation today, and I'll go into kind of what got me there, and hopefully I can keep it as relative and somewhat entertaining as I can. Don't want to bore you with personal situations, but I'll just kind of tell you a one of the examples that led me to wanting to talk about this. And so right now we've got a husky that we've had for over a year now. He's still a puppy. He's barely over a year. He was really little when we got him. But I say he's still a puppy because he still acts like a puppy. He wants to chew on everything, and just he's a crazy dog. But we also, for those of you that haven't heard me talk about it, we live on a little farm. Nothing huge. It's not a ranch. We got 10 acres, but we have lots of animals, lots of chickens and goats and peacocks and different things. And so if you don't know anything about huskies, huskies are a breed that has a very high prey drive, which means they love to chase things. Anything that moves, they want to chase it. And especially him being young still, he wants to play with things, which means if it's anything little and he can catch it, he's probably going to kill it. And so that being said, we have had a lot of issues with him. We try to keep him inside. He chews things up when we're not at home, so he gets put outside a lot, and so he has gotten into some of the animals. He's killed several chickens. He's gotten a hold of some of kittens. We have barn cats, and he's gotten a hold of some of the kittens, and just anything in between. Obviously he's done a very good job of controlling our possum and mole population, I would say, as well. He's a very good hunter, but that comes with some good and that comes with some bad. Obviously that's why we have barn cats, is because it to control some of that stuff. And so the possums and everything else is uh, obviously we don't have a problem with that, but you just can't have a dog that you can't trust around a farm if you can't trust him around animals. And so he got a hold of one of our baby goats that we just had a few days ago, and so just several things that have come up here lately, and it's made it very evident that it's just time to find another option for him. And so this sucks because I love that dog. That dog loves me, and I just I have been avoiding it for quite a while. My wife has been done with him for a long time. She likes him. She thinks he's funny. She thinks he's cute because he's a pretty husky, but she's just been done with him because of everything he does. He's a lot of work, and he tears everything up. And so she's been done with him, and probably would have rehomed him a long time ago. But I've been digging my heels in because I really like him. And so that's been the holdup. But anyway, I just realized that with everything that's happened, with everything he's done, I don't see that I'm ever going to be able to kind of get him out of that, because that is his genetics. That's just part of who he is. And so we've started looking for a good home to place him in. And so, I told my daughter this yesterday on our way home, and she just lit into me. I got chewed out pretty good, and she's a big animal person. So, her kind of her stance on it was, well, we just need to train him better. We need to spend more time and effort putting into him so that he will quit doing that. And that's when we had the whole genetics conversation. It's like, these dogs, that's just what they are. Some dogs are great at certain things and they're bad at other things. It's why you don't buy a Labrador or a golden retriever as a guardian dog to scare off bad people. It's not going to happen. They're going to sit there and roll over and let the bad guys scratch their stomach and then go rob you. That's not what they're made for. But if you're wanting a hunting dog, that's the dog you want. And so anyway, that conversation, and I had to kind of stop and just step away from the conversation, because I was getting irritated, because she was making it sound like, I was giving up on him, and I didn't care about him, and that is obviously not the truth, because there is nobody in our family that spends more time with him than me. And I just, like I said, I love the dog. And so it was hard for me to kind of listen to that. And I didn't want to get upset, because for one, she's young. She doesn't understand the whole decision making thing that I just talked about earlier, about how sometimes there's just not a good decision, or there's not a good option. They all suck. And so she doesn't know that. She doesn't understand. And she doesn't truly have a clear perspective either. So I just let it go, but I continue to think about it all day. And so to kind of give even a little bit more insight, and I'm sorry that I'm rambling about personal farm stories here, but I will get to my point very quickly, I promise. To give a little bit more insight even to this, and this is a conversation that I will have with her. I just to really I had to really think it out and digest it myself before I had it with her. But anyway, we previously, several years back, we got a German Shepherd, because we had some things go on that we started being concerned with the safety of our family. And so we wanted to get a dog to protect the family, protect the house. And so we had a German Shepherd. She was a great dog. Put her through a lot of training, spent like $1,200, I think, maybe even more. It seemed like it was almost $2,000 to train her, like, to be a guardian dog for our family. And like I said, she was a great dog. I loved that dog too. Um, as far as our family goes, she was a great dog to the family. But again, German Shepherds, high prey drive, terrible, terrible dog to have around a farm. And she killed several chickens, and then she started getting a hold of some of our goats, and even some of our bigger goats. Almost killed a few, and finally a little bit later got a hold of literally our biggest goat out there, and killed him. And that was, I realize it's probably goofy for some people out there to hear it, but that was my favorite goat. He's just a loving goat. And if you don't know anything about goats, if you have a friendly goat, they are literally like dogs, if not even better. So, that was a hard time for me, because I lost, an animal that I really love. And as the cause of that, it really kind of made me realize, okay, we've got to do something different. So I had to find a home for her that time. And so I knew it had to be done, but it sucked because I didn't want to do that. And the kids were upset, and it was a crappy situation. And so that is important because that plays into the situation I'm in right now. Do I just turn my head and ignore the fact of what's really going on, and just to not upset the kids, and just to not be put in a place to make a hard decision? Because then what is going to happen next? What is he going to get a hold of next? Because it's going to happen again. It's just, that's the way it is. And so that's kind of the conversation that we'll have, my daughter and I, to really dig into that, and to go into some of that's why we make the decision stuff. But to bring it around full circle, and to actually get something out of this conversation. Again, I'm sorry that if I it took a while to get here, but that's the life of an adult. That's the life of a parent. That's the life of somebody that is in charge of others. That's the life of a leader. You have to make the decisions. And a lot of the times you're having to make choices between options that aren't any good. And that's what I was thinking. Part of my thinking process of what I would talk to her about is, when you get older, especially here lately, just thinking about, the choices I've had to make here lately, the percentage of decisions I make that are just like, oh man, I'm a winner either way. These are all great options. I get to pick whichever is the best of the best options. And either way I go, that's a great place to be. The percentage of decisions I make that are like that are like less than 1%. I don't, I just don't remember having a decision like that. It's always like, well, this is and I think the best case scenario is this, okay, this is obviously the best option. It's better than this other one. This other one's not a good option. And so we gotta go this way. It's never, wow, I win. I win this way if I choose this. I win this way if I choose that. And so, I don't know. I'll just pick either one. It seems like there is always gambles associated to these decisions. And so the point underneath all of it is that we still have to make those decisions. It doesn't matter what options you have. It doesn't matter what options you don't have. It doesn't matter how much risk is associated with every option available. We still have to make an option. Doing nothing is the worst possible choice we can make. I don't I don't know that there is any situation involving any topic, any decision ever being made, that doing nothing is the best option. Now, I don't mean to say that it's not okay to wait and kind of think things out, maybe let things play out a little bit. No, I'm not saying rush into things. If you need to take your time, think about things, step back a second before you make a decision. That's not what I mean. Obviously, those are good things sometimes. I mean, just flat out not making a choice, not making a decision, just ignoring the responsibility to be that person that makes the decision. And so, and I won't go into any details because, this is an ongoing thing, and I don't want to get into it, but there is a situation right now with a couple of our kids. You know, they've got a loved one that is in a bad way health wise. And so this is another, and this is probably the biggest lose-lose situation I've ever been a part of as far as decision making goes. If we choose one way, we have to be concerned with the mental health of our kids in one particular area. If we choose another way, then we have to be concerned with the mental health of our kids in another way. And so it just sucks. And my wife and I have had this conversation a couple times. It just sucks to be put in that situation, to have to make a choice that we know there is absolutely risk involved, but most likely there's going to be some negative effects come from it. Either way, either way we pick, there's a gamble. Either way we pick, there are negatives to it. Either way we pick, there are risks. But we still have to pick. We cannot just sit there and not do anything. And so, I was kind of halfway joking when I started out by saying, at what age does it kind of start sucking to to have to make decisions? But that's where my head is. It used to be fun, used to be cool to be independent and to make your own decisions and make your own choices. But as time goes, as responsibility builds, as the odds and risk factors increase, as things start to get real, it kind of turns into not as much fun to have to make those decisions. But we still have to do it. We still have to make some sort of decision. We still have to stand up and make some choice. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I've I feel like, as always, I have this grand vision in my head of a great conversation that's important. And as usual, it's a conversation that I need and am having currently with myself. But at the same time, I think it's a conversation that others need and want to hear as well. And so that's why I share it. So I have all that in my head, but I just always wonder how well it kind of translates out in my words. So hopefully I conveyed things in a way that at least gets you to thinking, you know, I, and really bottom line, it's that no matter what we're faced with, no matter what hard decisions we have to make, no matter what hard choices we have to make, no matter what bad options we have to pick from, we as leaders, we as parents, we as spouses, we as adults that are in charge of our own lives, whatever level of responsibility you're looking at right now, we have to be the ones that make those decisions. We cannot sit around and just let life happen by chance. We have to go out and we have to do it. And if those are bad options to pick from, you do your best. You weigh the options. You try your very best to pick the one that you think is going to be the least hurtful, the least risky, and you just make the decision. So that's all I got today. I hope my ramblings were were somewhat helpful to you. I I don't do this usually because I've had a few times where guests have had to reschedule and things like that, and things got mixed around, but I've already got several recorded. So looking forward to the next couple weeks. We've got Jim Moss coming on Thursday. A good conversation with him about leadership, a little bit about his book, humility, and just, just good stuff with Jim. And after that, I will probably have a 2-part series with Rick George. I had a conversation that I recorded with him a couple days ago, and it was almost 3 hours long. And so I'm probably going to break that up into 2 episodes. But that is another one. You definitely don't want to miss that. Rick has got a amazing story, so inspirational. He's such a great guy. Everybody that knows him personally and that's met him just can't say enough about how awesome he is. And so I really look forward to kind of meeting him and getting to know him a little bit. And it was an awesome conversation. So look for those the next 2 or 3 weeks. Some really good conversations coming up with guests. And so I will leave you with that. I hope you have a great week. I hope that said something today to add even just a little bit of value to your life. You know, the the bottom line of everything I do is just we need to keep getting better. We need to keep improving, keep learning, keep growing, becoming better people. Oh, that's what it's all about. And so I'm here to try my best to inspire a little bit of that in you because that's what I want in myself. And so until next time, thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time. Do the right thing, stay humble, and do work. Thank you.